Today we're talking about topics where experience, preparation, and strategy make a big difference. Let's get into it. Feeling like your listing is getting stale, what can you do about it? It really comes down to value, and value can be changed by two ways: improving the property or lowering the price. Those are your two options. So as a seller, what do you need to understand before accepting an offer with a long, lengthy completion date? The more time that's involved for a transaction to complete, the greater the risk that's involved, because as time goes by, things can happen. And so you want to make sure that you've got a good sized deposit. You also want to know the background of the buyers that are coming in to purchase your property. Make sure that everything is on track, that it makes sense to have that longer completion. But sometimes you don't have a choice. You have to work with what you've got. So longer completions happen. They're not ideal, but if you prepare properly, no problem. So if you're a buyer and you're looking at a property that has a suite rental, especially if there's a tenant already in place, what is it that you really need to look out for? Number one, you want to know, is that suite, is it legal, is it authorized? Because if there's a problem and that gets shut down, well, that can cut your revenue off right away. The other thing is, if there's a tenant in place and you don't plan to occupy that space, then that tenant will be something you'll likely have to assume. So you want to get the details, make sure that, especially if it's a suite within a property that you're planning to live in, that you're going to be able to get along with this tenant. And so you want to actually probably go and have a chat with them, or put a condition in the offer subject to reviewing all of the documents, the tenancy agreement, so you know exactly what you're getting into, and also so that tenant knows exactly also what they're getting into. So how do you know if it's a price reduction that's needed, or if it's an increase in marketing spend that's needed, or if it's improving the property that's needed? I think you're going to have to rely on the professional, your realtor, to be able to advise you on that. Because yeah, sometimes it's not the price. There are properties that just have a smaller pool of buyers. And if you don't give it enough time to find that buyer, then I think a lot of it's just comes down to realistic expectations. It's like fishing. If you don't leave the hook and let it soak for a long enough period of time, you're just not going to be able to catch the fish. So it really comes down to that. But there are times where if it's a certain property, it should have sold by now, other properties are selling, then look at the price or improving the property. If you're getting showings and no offers, then it's either price or how it presents itself. So what are some things that an experienced realtor will notice during a showing that a buyer may just miss? There's a lot of things, like especially when you have deferred maintenance or items that you wouldn't notice unless you dug into, like the age of hot water tank, age of the heating system, what it's like in the crawl space, what kind of condition the roof is in. Because sometimes you walk into a house and as a buyer, it can just be like really appeal to your emotions, and you forget about the reality of all the things that you may have to deal with. So having a good experienced realtor there to make sure that those items are also covered and that you're taking a look at everything that needs to be, so you can make the right decision in moving forward. So as a seller, how can you prepare for tough feedback after a showing? I'm going to say that there's really no easy way to do that. Sometimes it does hurt. A lot of times as sellers and owners, we feel a lot of pride in our home and it suits us. We live there, and to have somebody come in, look at your property and then give feedback saying that either, maybe it didn't show well, or maybe there was a smell or something, just a negative feedback in general, it hurts. But as a seller, there's a means to the end, and in order to get to sale, you're going to have people come and take a look. And just because the feedback was negative doesn't mean that they're not interested as well. So just know that it's part of the process. In the end, as a seller, are they interested or not? If they're not, really don't worry about it. If they are, let's talk. So what separates a smooth subject removal process versus one that can be overly stressful? On the seller side, a lot of it comes down to the preparation work that you do before. So making sure that your property presents itself properly, that you know the state of your roof, your crawl space, your attic space, your septic, your well. Get those things checked out before you even put the home for sale. The other side of it is clear communication. As an agent, having a good relationship with the agent on the other side of the deal, making sure that we're being cooperative, providing them with information when they have questions, and having all that data available, like septic records, well logs, anything that we can have that will help facilitate the process in advance, where buyers can remove their conditions with confidence. Selling real estate is about so much more than marketing, and experience, strategy and advice makes such an impact in your position as a seller or a buyer and working with an agent. And there's really only one way to get experience, and that's through doing the transactions, working through things, learning the hard way. If you have questions about the market on the buy or sell side, please reach out. I'm happy to chat. We can talk through your scenario to make sure that you're as prepared as possible, because a lot of times a successful sale can start months before a sign even goes up. So you want to talk, reach out. Thanks again for watching.